All right. That's so cute, eh? So cute.
Yeah. He's alive.
He's alive forever.
In my heart, he's alive.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
He's even better than Patrick Swayze.
Oh, absolutely. Was Patrick Swayze in Hollywood?
No, he was a good dancer.
Oh, he wasn't.
Anyway, Dirty Dancing, Patrick Swayze.
Enough.
Enough is enough. Let's do obeisance to my protector and guru, Patrick Swayze.
Oh, please.
All right. Obeisance to my guru and protector, Manjushri, who holds in his heart scriptural text embodied talks in the things of things as they are, in the sun shine forth as the sun unclouded by divine traces of him, using 60 ways for the patient love of Father for his own son, all creatures called in the prison of some sort, infusing the darkness of their ignorance of the suffering. Arises from the stupor of illusions, frees us from the iron chain of karma, whose powerful sword of wisdom chews out suffering wherever it appears, clearing ignorance and treachery of mind, virtues, sincere. 12 marks of a Buddha was completed the 10 stages, achieving the highest perfection of Buddhas, has been pure from the beginning. O mind, Rishi, O loving one, with the brilliance of your wisdom, illuminated darkness and clothed in one, enlightened my intelligence and wisdom, so I may gain insight into Buddha's words and the text that explain. Chodran Soki Chonamla, Chanchu Badu Dani Kyapsuchi, Dagi Chushegi Betonangi, Dola Penji Sange Dopa, Sange, Chodran Soki Chonamla, Chanchu Badu Dani Kyapsuchi, Dagi Chushegi Betonangi, Dola Penji Sange Dopa, Sange, Chodran Soki Chonam, Chanchu Badu Dani Kyapsuchi, Dagi Chushegi Betonangi, Dola Penji Sange Dopa. All right. Alrighty. All right, the plan for today, we're going to do some more, cover some more ground with the 46 secondary offenses, and then we're going to look at some of the things that we've covered today. Before we begin, have you got any questions, people at home, people here?
Yeah, but I don't mind just discussing that point that we were discussing at the end about accumulations. The two accumulations.
I heard about them.
Method and wisdom.
Yeah.
And Alan wanted an example.
Yeah.
So the example that I thought of and came up with is like, say I'm out there turning the prayer wheel. So if I'm turning the prayer wheel that has, I don't know, how many mantras does it have in it?
Gazillions of mantras.
That's not a real number. We don't know the number anyway.
Yeah.
We're turning millions.
Bucket loads.
Yes, bucket loads. Oh, but that's not the number, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm visualizing that all those the blessing of Almighty Padme is spinning out the top like Dorothy's cyclone, going all over Queensland and down along the coast, and it's just bringing benefit and blessings to everybody along the Queensland coastline, definitely, without a doubt. So obviously in that mind, there's emptiness. Without emptiness, the concept of emptiness, the three spheres, the wheel, the me turning it, and the gazillion of mantras in it that are having a benefit. And it's through those three conditions that I can turn that wheel to generate which is wisdom, to generate a method aspiration. Yes, it's not a method, more of an aspiration, method aspiration. Thus accumulating the two
collections. So before I get to answer that, I'm wondering if people at home have heard Decula's question. If you've had a question, please just give me an indication. If not, I'm just going to repeat the question to the people at home. Okay, Jason says yes.
Thanks, Jace.
Thanks, Jace. So Geshe made a distinction between the sutra and the tantric system.
He did, yes, he did.
So he said that from the point of view of the tantric system, since we unite both method and wisdom, which means the illusory body and clear light, which means appearing in the body as a body of a deity, and also the same consciousness realizes emptiness. This is one mind that contributes both to the accumulation of merit and the accumulation of wisdom. In that the accumulation of merit is meditating on the body of the deity, and the accumulation of wisdom is that mind realizing emptiness.
Yes.
So that goes for both of them. Now, from the sutra perspective, only Buddha can have these two happening at the same time in an explicit way. So in one consciousness. Sorry, I should actually erase that comment. I'm going to say it again. From the sutra perspective, only a Buddha can combine these two, the method side and wisdom side, in one consciousness.
At one moment.
At one moment.
In one moment.
Yeah, whereas we can combine it in one moment, but with different consciousnesses. So we have two consciousnesses happening here, or if not more. You know, we can have multiple consciousnesses occurring at the same time. It's not that it has to be only one. So for example, you're turning the Dharma wheel, or you're turning the money wheel, the money wheel, visualizing how it spreads prayers and mantras to the corners of the universe. So, and you're thinking of thereby benefiting sentient beings, right? So that's the method side. Another consciousness also is cognizant of the emptiness of the three spheres, which means that you, the turner of the wheel, is empty of inherent existence. The will is empty of inherent existence. You know, the mantras within are empty of inherent existence. The beings that benefited by that are empty of inherent existence. So turning the will itself is also empty of inherent existence. So that is another consciousness that is cognizant of emptiness of inherent existence. So each one of those consciousnesses will contribute to a collection. So the consciousness that is cognizant of emptiness will contribute to accumulation of wisdom. The other one that is thinking of benefiting others, that is thinking of turning the wheel of Dhamma and so forth, that is contributing to the accumulation of merit. So one can qualify the other, or we can do them in combination with others, and we package it all together into one practice. But in that one practice, we have different consciousnesses that contribute to different collections. So being able to unite method and wisdom in one consciousness as a single entity would be the case of one consciousness contributing to both.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nicely answered, nicely responded.
Well, we should thank Geshe. I think that he came up with this. Yeah. Thanks, Geshe.
I wasn't quite sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad Ellen asked that question, because I was a little bit, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also more to it in terms of anger destroying roots of virtue. So we've heard that before, right? We've heard before that statement that one moment of anger destroys roots of virtues accumulated through
virtues of merit.
Yeah, through that have accumulated through lots of eons. So when you look deeper into that, it is more like the virtues that are included within the accumulation of merit. So it destroys those which are those virtues that were accumulated by the accumulation of merit, not by accumulation of wisdom, but also there is more to it, in a sense that so we say that when you dedicate your roots of virtue, you protect them from being distracted by anger, being destroyed by anger, right? So if we say that if you dedicate them, you safeguard your virtue, whereas if you don't dedicate them, you don't safeguard them. This is also something that some of you have heard before. I guess that for some of you, it is rather new. Kind of, it seems that maybe for you, is it new?
I've heard it, but I haven't heard it like that.
Yeah. All right. So it is said that kind of always when we finish a practice, and I think that Geshe also referred to that yesterday, he said that just don't just finish it in haste, but make sure that you finish the practice well, you dedicate it well, kind of you have the good intention, that well-meaning intention at the end of the practice where you dedicate it for the welfare of others. And in general, we say that dedicating our virtues, for example, for complete enlightenment will protect them from being destroyed by anger. But I think that they should be more into it, because one moment of anger can destroy roots of virtues that are classified within the accumulation of merit. So what are the things that are classified by the accumulation of merit? Well, we have, for example, giving and ethics and patience and joyous efforts. You know, all those renunciation, compassion, loving kindness, going for refuge. So many things are included within the accumulation of merit. So generally, I think that as far as I remember, we said before that while performing our virtuous activities, we want them to also be combined with an awareness of emptiness. So we go for refuge, we practice generosity, we practice ethics and so forth. So we want to combine them as much as we can with also being cognizant of the emptiness of the three spheres. It's pretty difficult, don't you find? I mean, when I look at my own attempts to do something regularly on a daily basis, it's pretty difficult to bring together all the collection of positive things that will make our practice effective, particularly when you consider it as a dependent arising or being empty of inherent existence.
Notice that, and the bit that is new is the splitting between the virtue and the merit, like it's being able to just very quickly understand which one is which, because that's not a good process when you're learning. You just,
So let's try.
Is that a merit or is that a virtue? You've got to think about which one it is.
Well, so let's try to distinguish that as well. We can have also a discussion about that. So it is said that when you also dedicate your virtue, so now we want to perform our virtues together with a certain awareness of selflessness or emptiness, but also when we dedicate them, we also want to dedicate them with an awareness of emptiness. And this is where, for example, this really nice dedication that was put together by Lama Zopa Rinpoche plays a role in that. So it's good also to pay attention to that now that kind of we discussed that. So when we do the Guru Puja, for example, we go twice or three times over that. Now, due to this virtue, I was empty of existence from my own side. Then the set of Buddhahood, which is empty of existence from its own side, and lead all sentient beings who are empty from their own side to that very state. So we want to then, in our dedication, combine these two together. And that combination of method and wisdom protects the roots of virtues from being destroyed by anger. So if you don't do it together with wisdom, it seems that the implication is that they can be destroyed by one moment of anger. This is where wisdom is important. Now, we'll revisit that later on, and we can have more discussions about it with Geshe. I think that it's good just to become more clear about how do we safeguard our roots of virtues from being destroyed, because we are all, or at least me, I'm still to a great degree susceptible to anger, a sense of resentment, animosity, disliking some people at some times and liking them at other times. So, we make effort, a good, well-intended action, but it's going to be quite a shame if it is so easily destroyed. So that's one thing. Now, with respect to what differences between virtue and merit. So it seems that, first of all, we have virtuous actions, which in general are considered to be positive actions. Now, when we look at what the definition is of virtuous actions, in general, virtuous action or virtue, let's say virtue, is first of all that which was indicated by the Buddha. So the Buddha spoke about it. Scriptures speak about what virtue is. And it is also by type something that brings forth a positive fruition. I think that in text sometimes it says brings forth happiness or positive fruition, white fruition. You can understand it as happiness as just pleasure. Or you can maybe understand it as happiness being a happy rebirth, right? A fruitional effect in terms of taking rebirth. So that's virtue. So you have those actions that were indicated by the Buddha. Then you have non-virtuous actions, which were also indicated by the Buddha in scripture. And then we have those actions which are called neutral actions. Now, neutral actions, the word for them in Tibetan is that those actions or those things which were not indicated by the Buddha. It didn't make any specification whether a particular thing is positive or negative. Those actions are called neutral actions.
Like turning a prayer wheel?
I think it probably, turning a prayer wheel, I think that in general, that would be a virtuous action. That would be virtue. But, I think that we also have to be specific. We have to be, I think, cautious about, I think that obviously the Buddha did not state all actions in an exclusive way or in all possible situations. So he gave, I guess, in many occasions, classifications of actions or an indication of what action would be a virtuous action. And then we can come to a conclusion that there is an action that is similar to that or falls under the umbrella of that big virtuous action that the Buddha was speaking about. And therefore, it is also virtue. So I don't know if the Buddha spoke about turning prayer wheels, because it seems that I've seen prayer wheels only in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. I haven't.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but it's probably in the commentaries of the benefits of turning prayer wheels.
Yeah.
So that comes up in the commentaries. No, because it's in commentaries.
But I don't know enough about what the Buddha said or did not say to conclude that the Buddha did say that or did not say that. Just don't know. And just
they probably didn't have prayer wheels when the Buddha was around. Would they have had prayer wheels then? I don't think so.
I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe they did exist. Maybe they did not exist. I just don't know.
I think it's not. So is it virtue or merit?
Well, so that was the definition of a virtuous action. You perform a virtuous action, you contribute to merit, you create merit. So what is merit? Well, merit in general, we have the accumulation of merit. That's the accumulation of causes that mainly contribute to the form body of Buddha. Right? So the accumulation of merit, we speak about causes. The primary causes, these are the causes that mainly contribute to the form body of Buddha. There's a language that is more specific. They say that they leave those traces, those footprints for the Buddha's form body. Yeah, Rupakaya. So we can speak about, for example, how you contribute to the accumulation of merit, how to create those causes. You practice generosity, you go for refuge, you meditate on compassion, you meditate on bodhicitta. All those different actions form the Buddha's body. They contribute to those imprints, traces, whatever will give rise in the future to Buddha's Rupakaya. So it seems that virtue is a cause. Through that, you accumulate merit. This is in general, it seems that roughly speaking, I'm not sure that you can hold it to it in a very kind of precise scientific way, but you can say that you create a virtuous action, thereby that virtuous action accumulates merit. It contributes to the accumulation of merit.
So virtue is like the noun, and merit is like the adjective, is like the verb, the action.
No, virtue is the action.
Yeah, and merit's like the other way around, the imprint.
Yeah, merit is the Merit, as Geshe said it today, merit is the collection of causes contributing to the form body of Buddha. So that's the accumulation of merit. But then also just merit in general is said to be, it is described in a very loose sense. It is said that merit is that which ensures that your actions become successful.
Is there an analogy where merit, virtue is the seed and merit's the field? Something like that?
I don't know. I'm not sure that I've seen that.
So what was that last merit?
So merit ensures that your actions become successful. And that is, it said, there is a saying in Tibetan that of course comes from the Buddhist tradition, that a person that succeeds in their undertaking is a person that has merit. And then it is said that, I've had it a few times before, that if that merit can manifest in different ways. So of course we can have success in Adamic activities, right? So you undertake a certain practice, you bring it to completion in a successful way. It is because you had merit to do it, to accomplish the result of your practice. But also, if you're doing business and you're successful in your business, you have merit.
Not because of your virtue.
Because of merit. So you can see that some people, for example, undergo through a lot of hardship. They put a lot of hard work into conducting a certain business, right? I'm not speaking about Dharma, just doing business, and they're not successful. Someone else might take a really light-hearted approach to whatever business they're doing. They will not put a lot of effort into that. They'll be hugely successful. That person has merit, right? So there is kind of a loose sense of describing what merit is, which contributes to success in something. Jason is asking, so merit is like positive energy. Yeah, you can say that it's like positive energy, but it doesn't really define what it is. It's more like this positivity that ensures that your actions are successful, but it seems that it's not really giving you a lot to work with. Person that has merit will have a better success in what they do. Now we can add to that another bit. We say normally that what determines our actions as virtuous action is our motivation, right? So if you have a virtuous motivation, the action would be a virtuous action. Well, I'm not, I'll get to that in a second, because here I wanted to make a certain distinction. So then if your motivation is not a good motivation, it's a bad motivation, then you create a non-virtuous action, right? So that's the role of the motivation. Now, in Chandakirti's supplement to the Middle Way, when he spoke about the first man generation, when he spoke about the perfection of generosity, he made a distinction between merit and virtue, in a sense that he said that you can practice generosity, you can have the result of generosity that will result in a certain state of richness, possessions, abundance. But it's not necessarily that the action that has created it was a positive action. Like, for example, suppose that your motivation is wanting to be famous. You want to outsmart your opponents in being kind of the most famous person in the world, the most generous person in the world. So you practice a lot of charity, but your motivation is not necessarily to be of benefit to others. You just want to
let everyone know
let everyone know how generous you are, how wonderful you are, and so forth. By practicing generosity, you accumulate merit. However, if your motivation is self-interested motivation, would you say that that act of giving is a virtuous action?
No.
Yeah, you wouldn't say that. So you can still accumulate merit and then thereby experience the result of giving. So you still have certain result, but you can't say that that's a virtuous motivation. So, for example, it is said that some Nagas are wealthy beings. I want to say wealthy people, but will you call them people? I don't know. So, some Nagas are rich. This is a result of merit, but it doesn't mean to say that actions that have created this wealth, the set of actions that created that wealth wasn't necessarily a virtuous or positive actions. I mean, of course, to that we can add some other bits like, completing karma and projecting karma and so forth. This discussion becomes, there are so many variables to this discussion, but I think that sorry?
The heaviness of the object.
Yeah, the heaviness of the object and so forth. But I think that altogether the distinction that I wanted to make is that you can have an action that still contributes to merit and you will experience the result of that. Does not necessarily mean that the action was a very strong virtuous action. You could have been influenced by your own self-interest.
It was the thing that dedicating to one, not the other, to safeguard one, which was like, well, okay, how do you know when you're just dedicated, like to suddenly have to work it all out? But that actually makes sense now. I know this time.
Yeah. I mean, think about, for example, being a monastic. So kind of when other monastics see you, you avoid those negative actions. You avoid certain things that are adverse to your vow. But when you're at home, you think that I don't care, no one sees me, so I can do it. So in that sense, you could say that when you abstain from certain things just because others see you, you're still guarding your vow, but how does it contribute to the accumulation of merit if you're thinking that I don't want to be criticized by others, or yeah. Whereas at home, if you kind of don't care about your vow, how does it really work? No, that's like an open-ended question. My computer is beeping. All right. So. So we had a bit of discussion about virtue, merit, and the two accumulations. So on top of that, what I wanted to do today, maybe we won't look much into more secondary offenses because I also want to cover some of the points that Geshe spoke of today. But one thing that I did want to say, which I forgot to mention yesterday, is just to have an overview of the 46 secondary offenses, right? So in taking upon ourselves the Bodhisattva vow, we are not only committing to attain the state of enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. The commitment that we make is to train in the deeds of bodhisattvas in order to become Buddha for the sake of others. So the deeds of bodhisattvas are mainly the 6 perfections, right? So we use the 6 perfections in order to tame our own mind, and the 4 ways of gathering disciples in order to subdue others' mind, to take care of others, to tame their mind. So the main practice would be the 6 perfections. So then looking at the 46 secondary offenses, they're dealing with what we need to do in order to practice. Geshe is laughing outside. We're looking at the things that we should be practicing or the things that we should avoid because they are contrary to the practice of the 6 perfections. So as such, there are different groups that the 46 secondary offenses cover, and they're related to the perfections. So I've also put it in the class notes, which I will upload today to the Dropbox. We got to do it yesterday, but I just wanted to put it on the board. So the 46 secondary offenses are divided into, roughly speaking, 7 groups. So we have the first 7 are misdeeds, contrary to the perfection of giving and ethics of gathering virtue. So of the 7, we spoke of 3. Then we have the next group, 9 misdeeds, which are contrary to the perfection of ethics. Then those which are contrary to the perfection of patience, those contrary to the perfection of joyous effort, absorption, wisdom. And finally, they are contrary to the ethics of benefiting others. So if you avoid those misdeeds, you have a better chance of practicing the perfections, the 6 perfections, And the practice of the 6 perfections would also be instrumental in protecting you from the 18 root downfalls. So let's just maybe cover a few points that Geshe-la spoke of today, just to make sure that we keep up with Geshe-la. If we have time at the end of the session, we can maybe go back to the 46 secondary offenses and maybe cover 1 or 2 more, but just to make sure that we keep abreast with Geshe-la. Let's look at what we've covered today. Any questions, by the way? So I think that today we finished the section on rejoicing in the causes for and effects of unsurpassable enlightenment.
I had a question about verse 6.
You had a question about verse 6. Let's put it on the board. All right, that's requesting not to pass beyond sorrow.
Yeah.
So maybe can you wait with that for a second? I'm just going to finish with rejoicing and then, sorry. So one thing that occurred to me when I went home and started to think of today's class was, Geshe-la spoke of an extensive rejoicing in the virtues of others. So he said that you rejoice in the virtues, but you also dedicate virtues. It's quite similar, rejoice and dedication. So you rejoice in virtues of yourself and others in the past, present, and future, created by body, speech, and mind. So it becomes pretty extensive. So at home, I thought to myself, if I try to put it on a chart and see how extensive I can think of rejoicing in the virtues of others. So I just kind of started to draw kind of just a chart, a mind map of just a second. How do you get rid of this? I don't want to see this. No. Okay. No, so when we think of virtues, for example, we can think of virtues created by me and virtues created by others. Then rejoice in physical, verbal, and mental activities created in the past, present, and future. And then as Shantideva spoke about, those virtues of high status rebirth, those of liberation, and those of enlightenment. He divided them as causes, and he spoke about causes and results. So rejoicing in, for example, physical virtuous actions created by me at the present. So causes, guarding ethics, practicing generosity and so forth, making stainless aspirational prayers. These are the causes for high status rebirth. Rejoicing in the results of that, which are divine states of rebirth of gods, and which is not me at the present, but a human rebirth with freedoms and opportunities, a precious human rebirth. The same thing can be done also with respect to virtues created by others. It's like a mirror image of this chart. So then actions created by me for the sake of liberation, actions created by me for the sake of enlightenment, causes, bodhicitta, the cultivation of bodhicitta, the practice of the 6 perfections. The result of that would be my own future Buddhahood, or becoming a Bodhisattva trainee, either an Arya Bodhisattva or an ordinary Bodhisattva. So I just kind of thought of putting it on a chart like that, just in order to see the extensiveness of how we can rejoice in the virtue if we give it enough time. So not just kind of think about it in general, but try to be quite specific about virtues that we have created in the past, those that we created in the present. Think of those that we'll create in the future by our body, speech, and mind. Those that contribute to enlightenment, liberation, high status rebirth, causes and effects. And then also, of course, to rejoice in the virtues of others. So that's one point that I wanted to make with respect to rejoicing. And if you think of rejoicing, what does it counteract? jealousy,
And dislike.
and dislike. Yeah, dislike. It's actually kind of, I thought about it at home, and I thought that kind of people that, no, I would like to think of myself that I don't have a strong dislike to them, or that I try to bring down my sense of dislike. But when you don't like someone, and when they kind of rub you the wrong way, it's really difficult to be positive about the virtuous activities. You know, it's really difficult to think that, you know, they've done well, or that's excellent, they've done that. Even that, even when you know that they've done a good thing, your dislike to them kind of dumps down your enthusiasm.
Well, I've used that practice very extensively in my own life. My sister who introduced me to Buddhism and then married Nick Regal, so high up in FDMT, and just heaps of doors open for her, and she just had, which she still does. Mum sort of knows her. You know, I'm Wendy's sister. That's how I'm known, Wendy's sister. You know, she's meditated in his house and everything like that. So, you know, the way I was able to deal with that is through rejoicing. You know, rejoice in all the amazing merit, the amazing opportunity, not all the amazing opportunities, the merit that she's been able to collect from that, and you know, and that has been like I've been practicing that for like 30 years.
Yeah.
and I think as a result of that, we're still friends. Otherwise, I think we could have had many arguments and fights, and even, you know, like she's asked me on the occasion, have you been jealous of me, or, you know, just seems me to be jealous. And so, well, no, that's not quite right, because I've been rejoicing in you. But, you know, it's just that we often do that. It's a way to overcome some of that sibling.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes kind of, you know, it's like a cliche, but you have to fake it till you make it. I remember that recently I've listened to some teachings with Geshe Doji Damdrul, and he said that when you start a session with generating a positive motivation, you meditate on bodhicitta, or you try to engender the motivation of bodhicitta. He said, say it out loud. For the sake of my dear Mother sentient beings, I will attain the state of enlightenment. For the sake of my dear Mother sentient beings. And he said that initially, or even for a long while, you will not have any feeling in your heart with respect to that. But he said that it's still important to say that. You say it enough times, and over time, there is a greater intentionality that goes into it, to the point in which it starts to affect your mind. So, just wanted to read through section 49 in the other commentary that we're using. So rejoicing does not serve at pride or pretentiousness, but is an instruction for accomplishing swiftly vast merit with little hardship. Therefore, it is said that you must meditate on rejoicing whenever you see or hear about any roots of virtue done by others. So it does not serve at pride, but we said that it does work against jealousy and also a sense of dislike to others. Sorry, Kempo Kumpen, yeah. So then, turning the wheel of Dhamma, that's verse 5, we're getting to verse 6 soon. So, 5 is requesting to turn the wheel of Dhamma. You mean Kempo Kumpen? It says, yeah. I mean, rejoicing itself is a virtuous action. You know, you rejoice in the virtues of others, and through that you accumulate a great amount of merit. You know, interestingly, in that commentary, it says that you attain double the amount of merit than. Yeah. And so, yeah, I thought myself, that's great. You know, it's like I rejoice in all the virtuous deeds of Buddha. I get double the merit of Buddha.
No, well, I like one that says you get it. Yeah, because it's like, that's limitless anyway.
Yeah.
You know that what is limitless.
All right. So with the request to turn the wheel of Dharma, there's also a really nice section here.
Just because, I mean, I find it in my own personal practice that when I take refuge, you can do at a glance a lot of this sort of stuff.
Mm.
I find, like, you know, the most recent one where they quickly go through some of the famous Bodhisattvas that have practiced this lineage.
Oh, the behavioural species, huh?
No. They also follow up, but it certainly does in that practice too. It certainly does in that practice too. But you know, this is just the practice I do on a daily basis. And so then you can rejoice in the fact that this is a proven path. It will protect me. It is a successful path. You know, rejoice in the merit of all these other people that have done it, and that they are actually here to support me. You know, and really try and bring that sense of presence, that they are here for you, and this is what you are taking refuge in, and this is what you are rejoicing in too. You know, like thank goodness. And then you know, and then there's also one way, you know, I love extended you know, I am all transmigrating beings, pervading fast reach of space. You know, like that's just a huge visualization. I am all transmigrating things, all 6 realms, you know, so you're doing that, and you know, from the, I just, that you can do these things relatively quickly if you have a good sadhana that allows you to, you know, to quickly reflect on.
I think that you can do them quickly with your sadhana, but also, you know, if you've done the sadhana many times before and you're used to thinking about it extensively, then you can easily draw upon those points later on and condense them. There's a lot of, I think, legwork that is required at the beginning.
There is.
Yeah.
And that's what we're sort of doing here now. That's what a lot of this is.
Yeah.
Getting that legwork in on how you can make this use of the practices that we have.
All right, so turning the wheel of Dharma. So it says, previously when a teacher reached actual and complete enlightenment in front of the Bodhi tree, he said, I've found a nectar-like Dharma, which is profound, peaceful, free from complexity, luminous and uncompounded. To whomever I teach it, it will not be understood. Therefore, I will remain in the forest without teaching. So first of all, from the life story of the Buddha did not teach straight off. He gave here reasons why he did not speak immediately, because he thought that it will not be understood by others. Then it says that for various reasons, such as the magnificence of the Dhamma and so forth, he gave the appearance of not teaching the Dhamma for 7 weeks. Shakra, king of the gods, offered a white conch curling to the right, and Brahma offered a golden wheel with 1,000 spokes and the like, and beseeching him again and again to turn the wheel of Dhamma, said, for every 4-line stanza of the Dhamma, you endured unfathomable hardship, such as having your body pierced by 1,000 iron nails or by having 1,000 candles burning on your body. Now, as you have obtained the treasure of the sublime Dhamma, why would you not turn the wheel of Dhamma? So, Yesha spoke today about turning, not giving teaching without being requested to do that, which is, I think, very heavily emphasized in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, right? The teacher, at the beginning of every teaching session, we make a mandala offering. That is the token of request for the teachings. When His Holiness is giving teachings, when other great teachers are giving teachings, we begin with mandala offering, and this is the request that we make for the teachings, without which traditionally it's not really suitable for a teacher to give a teaching on their own accord. So the reasons for that, as it says here, there are different reasons for that. One of them is for the magnificence of the Dhamma. The Buddha said that for fearing that beings will not understand the magnificence of the Dhamma and so forth. I think that also, you can say that, again, it's another safeguard mechanism within the Buddhist tradition that, you shouldn't convert people to the teachings if you don't have an interest in the teaching. You shouldn't impose your views on others if they haven't really asked you for your opinions. It's actually quite, it's quite interesting. In Tibetan Buddhist tradition, we, when Tibetan teachers come, we make mandala offerings to them as token for requesting the teachings. Then some of our Western teachers also have adopted this custom of, they ask for mandala offerings to be made to them before they give teachings, trying to at least cover the bases in terms of not giving teachings unless they're being requested to do so. But it's still, I find it, if anyone would try to make mandala offering to me, I would be a bit embarrassed. I don't feel that, I'm a suitable teacher to be requested, that can be requested for teaching. It's like we share the Dhamma, we study together, but
well, it's not in our culture.
Yeah, it's not in our
It's
culture.
not a part of our culture. I mean, that's always an interesting thing to explore on why has our culture missed out on that point of requesting people to do things.
Well, Dhamma is still new in our culture. I think that the point that I wanted to kind of to make is that although for many of us, we don't begin a teaching session with making a mandala offering, but I think that still, when we're being asked to speak about the Dhamma, to teach the Dhamma, to run a course and so forth, there is a request that is being made at the background. Even if it's not official with like the way that Tibetans do it, there is still a request. So then promoting ourselves without being requested to do that, that seems to be kind of something that is not really to be done. So if I say that, for example, if I travel to Israel, let's say, and I put a notice on Facebook, hey, I'm coming over, please invite me to teach, or or that I create a certain curriculum in Israel and I invite people to my courses, then I know it sounds like it's not in the spirit of not teaching without being requested to do so.
I was just going to say with the mandala offering, I mean, I share your view, but I guess at the beginning of teaching, so I find it comfortable, like to ask the students to offer a mandala to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of 10 directions, or the Buddhas or the lineage lamas.
Yeah.
And that feels comfortable.
Yeah.
So I guess it's requesting the blessings of the teachings. I'm with you.
Yeah, well, any good teacher, well, all the teachers that I've ever seen, even though we're doing a mandala, they're doing it as well.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, actually, it's pretty cool because I've noticed that, with this honest Dalai Lama and also with Ling Rinpoche, then when we make mandala offering, they do also all the recitation together.
Yeah.
But also, something that I find really interesting is that when we recite also the long life prayer, they also join in, So Ling Rinpoche joins in for the long life prayer for himself, and the Dalai Lama also does that. So I think that it's pretty cool. It's like, yeah, let's help you out. Anyway,
Still, nevertheless, I still think it's worthwhile spending a bit of time thinking about what it is within our culture to not naturally do that, as opposed to the Asian culture, which it's really a lot more comfortable, that sort of thing.
Well, I think that, making the mandala offering in a Tibetan way is very, is very imbued with Tibetan tradition. So, it's like, for me, I'm a Tibetan Buddhist person, but I'm not Tibetan. So kind of being overly Tibetan makes me feel uncomfortable. It seems that kind of adopting Tibetan mannerism, for me, is uncomfortable. Yeah.
Well, and not only that, there's nothing inherent about, all the Tibetan ritual items and so forth. Like, make it real for you. It's not you delighting something.
But still, kind of, I think that we can still stay very much true to the principle of not teaching without being requested to do so. So, I think that another thing is that the Tibetan tradition's mandala offering is, it has a certain tune, certain wordings, all the ritual implements and so forth. Most of us are not really, new students have no idea about how to sing it, what's the meaning of that. It has a certain rhythm, a certain meter, that feel uncomfortable about it, how to hold the ritual implements and so forth. All this kind of cultural background is not there, so it feels more intimidating. It's not like positive or negative. It's more like we don't have the cultural context.
I mean, another example is like generosity. Our culture doesn't have the Asian concept of generosity. I think this is another example.
Don't you like eating momos?
No.
Sorry?
Don't you like eating momos? Momos?
It's just like almost. Well,
Not really.
almost are overrated, but
Depends where you get them from.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's nice every once in a while, but kind of after a while, it's.
You prefer a shakshuka, is that right?
Yeah, I prefer something that doesn't have a lot of carbs. not the carbs galore. But anyway, the final point that I wanted to add to requesting to turn the wheel of Dharma, which is I found also really nice in Khenpo Kumpel's commentary, is at the end also to think that our request has been heeded, right? So he says in his commentary, while you thus beseech them, think that they accept, saying, I agree to turn the wheel of Dharma. So not only you're making requests, you're also thinking that they've accepted your requests and they're going to turn the wheel of Dharma for you.
Also, the next section.
Yeah.
Is quite wonderful.
Yeah, so the next section is 55. If one requests the Buddha to turn the wheel of Dharma, the purpose is said to be that in all future lifetimes, misconceptions of wrong views will not arise in one's mind, and one will be inseparable from the light of the sublime Dharma. How wonderful if that would happen.
How can you resist?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be awesome, super awesome. So we get now to verse 6, and Chuki, you said that you had a question. Let's look at your question. Where is it? Chapter 2. Almost. Oh, no. Yes, bingo. All right. Shoot.
Okay, so my question is, so we describe Buddhas as those gone beyond sorrow.
Yeah.
And here we're requesting do not pass beyond sorrow. So,
I
mean, is this to stay with us in this world system rather than to go to a pure land and so forth? The specialist said some lamas say once they, you have to do it before they've gone beyond sorrow because otherwise it's too late. So are we talking about they've already departed for the pure land, or the kings have escorted them off?
Yeah, I find this point a bit hazy, not very clear, because first of all, Buddhas have gone beyond sorrow. Yeah. No, so Buddhas have attained non-abiding nirvana. Since they've attained non-abiding nirvana, that's good. So since Buddhas have attained non-abiding nirvana, they have passed beyond sorrow. So then to ask them not to pass into parinirvana is kind of thinking that, well, they've passed beyond sorrow. For us, they display an ordinary aspect. You know, so I think that what we're asking them is not to display the aspect of passing away.
Stay with this body.
Yeah, to stay with this in this body, which is, I think that it kind of, it still kind of sometimes feels a bit weird. It's like, for example, in this tradition, we regard His Holiness the Dalai Lama to be Buddha, or our teachers, you know, we adopt the mental attitude that they're Buddha. So, you know, we say that for us, the only thing that we can see is an ordinary aspect. So we have no way of seeing His Holiness as being in Buddha in actuality. The only thing that we can see because of a limited perception is an ordinary being. And if the only thing that we see is an ordinary being, we will see someone passing away. So since that we can ask them to not display that aspect, but they will, because that's the only thing that we can see. That's the only thing that we can communicate with or relate to.
So we were asking them to teach while they can still teach, pretty much, before they decide they can't teach.
Or just
Yeah.
say in that aspect that we can,
Yeah, it's more like,
that we have become.
yeah. So in actual fact that they've moved, but we're asking them to still stay with us for some time. So there's, in the commentary, it says that, for example, the Buddha was requested to still stay around, and it did postpone his passing away, which means showing the aspect of passing away. He postponed it in 3 months. Let's see if we can find that section.
So he stayed within his body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 more months.
There it is. Earlier, when the lay practitioner Chunda requested our teacher not to pass into nirvana, the Buddha prolonged his life for 3 months. Likewise, although with regard to the definitive meaning, the Buddhas who dwell in the Buddha fields of the 10 directions, the victors, never pass into nirvana. Yet, because they have completed their activity for those to be tamed, which means that completed here can also be said, be translated as perfected, since they have perfected their activities for the disciples, they wish to display the manner of passing into nirvana. So,
I mean, not that, His Holiness has given the indication that he's sticking around for a while, but a few years ago, pre-COVID, obviously, when he said he wasn't going to be travelling long distance anymore, and it was at Bodhisattva, right, a couple of years ago, and he specifically said to Americans, I taught you all there is. Now, all I can teach you, now it's up to you to practice. So you could say that would be one of the, I've completed the purpose of having given all the teachings, and really I can't teach you any more than this. So it just could fit in here.
mm-hmm.
It's not what you were just saying. You're saying they've completed, well, maybe it is. They've completed their activity for those to be tamed. In other words, they've completed the teaching. Maybe.
Could be. So the wish to this, yeah, could be.
It doesn't mean those to be tamed have been tamed.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
they've completed.
They've done whatever could be done for those people.
Because all he can do is say
Yeah.
it in another way.
Yeah.
And that's why I sort of find that his teachings, he says, I mean, that one we heard the other day, was just subliminal, so pithy.
Which one?
The one that the great 14th, the also.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the message there, we've all heard it before. But once again, it was so pithy the way he told us. It's got these 3 aims.
He hasn't stopped teaching.
These 3 aims. It's everything's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great movie, very inspiring.
Yeah, everything's in it.
So then it says, all those, my body with folded hands I request with my voice and beseech, in order that these boundless beings are not left in blindness, their eyes of knowledge of what to do and what to avoid being blinded by the cataract of ignorance. And in order that you clarify the key points of what to do and what to avoid, I supplicate you to remain for many countless eons and not to enter into nirvana. Imagine that the Buddha accepts saying, I will remain and not enter into nirvana. So also here you visualize or you think that they've listened to you and they've accepted your request. So it's almost 4 o'clock. If you have no questions, we'll just leave it here for now.
We dedicate, now we're up to the dedication versus general dedication.
All right.
We're up to do the general dedication. Yeah, that's what I mean. And that's someone will do it. Supplements of all sentient beings.
Nyododa lama sange to gyune dorachi kyamalu pade salago pasho sanjori boch kepana ke gyochi kevanyam pa me pa Kone Gondo Pewasho, Koeshin Kandi, Pendanda Wa Malujuwen, Cherezi Wantanzi Yatsoi, Shape Site Padu Tengyuchi, Janchin Jambun Gawe, Enzi John Bewe, Sonko Wele Montu. Ada sodo je kondo shati. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Venerable Katsan. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Katsu. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.